Education without devotion is like a body without a soul. The Prophet ﷺ told us that one of the signs of the latter days would people would learn for other than the sake of God. My personal belief is everybody would benefit from a liberal arts type of training. In fact, historically in the Muslim world, the Hellenistic world, certainly the Christian world, that was what was understood to be essentially what an education was. Traditionally, colleges had fixed curricula and you just studied what your elders told you was the best thing for you to study. Some colleges have retained the idea of a core curriculum. But at Zaytuna, we're in that traditional mode of there is a fixed set of subjects that everybody has to study, and then you have electives as preceptorials or readings with teachers outside of the coursework. Even though liberal arts students represent less than 2% of the overall student population in the United States in higher education, they're close to 20% of the most influential people in the United States. So liberal arts graduates go on to do very interesting things. When people say to me, what can you do with a liberal arts degree? My response genuinely is, what can't you do with it? It's a degree that enables you to do a lot of things. There's a University of Chicago study on Nobel Prize winners in science, and what they found almost invariably they were liberal artists. The most creative scientists are scientists that had serious liberal arts training. And let me define liberal arts, because there's a lot of misconceptions about it. There's this idea that it means humanities. Liberal arts is not just the humanities, although the humanities is an important component. The liberal arts address the two ways in which human beings think, qualitatively and quantitatively. So they deal not just with the language arts, but also with the numerical arts, the physical sciences. Students do geometry, which is a very important science and a science that the Muslims were obsessed with. They do astronomy, which is related to geometry. They study tajweed, which is related to harmonics, and because it's beat-based, like 2 counts, 4 counts, 6 counts. The other aspect of the education, which is really important, is it's a study of the most excellent works that human beings have created. I mean, for instance, if you look at Martin Luther King taught at Morehouse College, he taught a course on political philosophy. If you look at his, and it's handwritten, you can see it, it's in the King Library. His handwritten syllabus included Aristotle's Politics, John Locke, Hume, right? This is who he was studying. This is who he was teaching. If you look at his test that he gave, his final exam for that course that he taught in 1960, it's an amazing test. He had a philosophical training. These are the subjects that really give somebody an extraordinary dialectical ability to view the world and then to challenge the world. As Muslims in the West, we're the inheritors of two traditions. This idea somehow that, that's Western civilization and that has nothing to do with me. Well, it's just simply not true. Whatever is excellent from the production of the human mind is the right of every human being. And our Prophet ﷺ said, wisdom is the lost property of the believer. Wherever he finds it, it's his. And so it's very important not to just look at something because it came from some group of people that you might have some animus towards. I mean, most of the horrors of Western civilization happened in spite of the great works of Western civilization, not because of, in spite of. The Islamic tradition is extraordinary. It's extraordinary in its humanities, in its philosophy, in its mathematics, in its sciences. And it's something that I think has immense wisdom to offer Western civilization. On the other hand, a Western civilization too has a great deal of wisdom, and the extraordinary success of this civilization is due to a lot of what they inherited, much of it coming from the Muslim world itself. The kind of student that we're looking for here is a highly motivated student, a student that has self-discipline, a student that loves language, a student that is curious, a student that also enjoys reading, a student that has a level of devotion in their personal practice that makes them amenable to religious training also, because part of the curriculum does involve our religious tradition. And so to study it purely academically is rewarding intellectually, but not spiritually. So I think people that do want to cultivate their devotional side, I think that's very important here. I really believe this education was meant to be for everyone. And I think everyone would benefit from this type of education. Whether people are willing to submit to the rigor, that's a whole different question.